guys, Zila here from Sky Garden Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be edging the Witchy Cat Tarot. Many tarot decks come with beautiful, stunning, amazing, luxurious gilding around the edges, and an example is the Queen Alice Tarot by Dame Darcy. Let me show you what it looks like. Which has these beautiful silvery edges that give it this very luxurious feeling. It's just beautiful. But many tarot decks do not come with any gilding. If you're like me, and you want to recreate that gilded feeling, then you can edge your tarot decks. An example of a tarot deck that I've edged before is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Absolutely beautiful deck. And on this deck I put a silvery edge on it as well. When edging a tarot deck, I found it's best to use some kind of Sharpie or marker pen. My personal weapon of choice are Posca pens. These are just amazing, and in particular the Posca pen that comes with the chiseled edge. So it has that sharp edge here and it's flat. I use this all the time for tarot decks and I have no complaints. The deck that we're edging today is the Witchy Cat Tarot by Dame Darcy. An absolutely amazing deck for witches and cat enthusiasts alike. The back of the deck is this beautiful, let me turn that. Yeah, I turned the light down just a bit so you can see the color a bit better. But the back of the decks have these two kitty cats, and it's this light lilac color, purple, and it has black edges and these absolutely marvelous, please focus camera, absolutely marvelous characters. Isn't he divine? This is a relatively new addition to my collection and I am totally obsessed. The only thing about this tarot deck, like my only complaint, and it's not even a complaint, it's just a personal matter of personal preference, is that this deck, in my opinion, is absolutely crying out for a splash of color around the edges. So just for your information, this is the tuck box edition of the Witchy Cat Tarot. So it comes with this cardboard box. And I think there might be a new edition on the way. I don't know if there's any official communication on that, but the impression I'm getting is that there might be an updated edition on the way. My suspicion is it's going to be the magnetic strap box edition, like the rest of Dame Darcy's decks. This one is the Mermaid Tarot. Also obsessed with this deck, have been for years. And it has this marvelous gentle gold edging on it. Okay. Besides your marker of choice, it's always a good idea to have some tissues on hand. This is so that you can wipe away any bleed through of the marker onto the card itself. It really is up to you whether you want to do this or not. I'm often not in the mood for it, and also edging can take quite a lot of time. So I'm okay usually with a little bit of bleed through on my, this is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. You can see here on the cards that there is actually a bit of bleed through on them. You can see the silver around the edges. There we go, that's a better example. Here, so it's smudged in a little bit, bled onto the card. You can also see it on the back of the cards a bit, so you can see the silver edging. Okay, so now I'm going to set up a different shot. I'm going to get a little bit comfy on the floor. And also last week I put a call out on my Instagram asking you guys to send me all your questions, and today, while we're edging the Witchy Cat Tarot, I'm going to go through them and I'm going to answer a couple of them. So let's jump into it. Okay, So color choice, it's totally up to you what color you want to edge your tarot deck. I like to try to match colors or contrast colors. If you're looking at the card, often one of the more important things to consider is the color of the border rather than necessarily the backs. I was thinking of maybe matching using the contrasting colors, so maybe using a yellow. I think it would bring out the star and contrast nicely with the purple. Other options I was considering were pink and blue, but I actually think I'm going to keep it simple today and just go with purple. So here we go. Okay, so for edging your tarot deck, you want to take your marker with the chisel edge, you grab your tarot card, and you just run the marker along the edge of the card, taking a little bit of extra care around the corners, because I find the corners are often the place I need to go over it again later on. And you do that for all the sides of the card. And now, I don't think you can really see it, but this card now has a really cool purple border or edge to it. So that's one card down, 77 more to go. Let's do it. If you want to be super careful, then grab a tissue and just wipe off any of the extra bleed through if there's color from the marker coming onto the card. Because the Witchy Cat Tarot has the glossy finish, it wipes off really easily. I don't know if you can see there's a bit of purple showing through here on the black. So it depends how much of a perfectionist you are. I personally really couldn't care, to be honest. I don't mind the purple showing through in the card. It's not that easy to see it anyway. Bleed through is probably not the right word. I don't know what to call it. That's the word I use. And I hope you guys understand me. Basically, I'm trying to say that the color, it runs off further than the actual edge and it comes onto the image of the card. There we go. Another one done. I tend to work pretty quickly, and it's always just a lot of fun to do this. I find it very meditative. I will often put on a podcast in the background, maybe watch some YouTube videos. I also like to burn incense. Today I've got dragon's blood burning, and I think it is just divine. So have you guys edged any tarot decks? Which is your favorite tarot deck that you've edged? Do you have any tarot decks in sore need of edging? Let me know in the comments below. So if we look at a card that has been edged and one hasn't, you can see that the purple, I hope you can see that on the camera, the purple is showing up nicely, and I'm very happy with how this is going to look. I think it's going to look great in the end. I think one of the risks is actually when you get it on your hands, like I'm getting it here, you can rub it onto the card without realizing. So just something to be aware of. The nice thing about Posca pens as well is that they're water-based, so a damp cloth would take off any color that's somewhere where I don't want it. So yeah. What some people like to do, and what I have been known to do as well, is to dry them actually, is to dry them like separately. It's good to just like lay them out on the floor or whatever until they dry. Otherwise, you can often get like these little smudges on the card, and that's just, nobody wants that. So okay guys, so that is how you edge a tarot deck. Oops, there's some bad bleed through, so I'm just gonna wipe that away. There we go, got him. Yeah, so I'm just going to carry on with this. I'll change the camera back so that you can see me. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to answer some of your questions that you had for me over on Instagram. And we're back, and I'm really loving how they're turning out. So you can see that the purple from the Posca pen is livening up this deck so much. It makes me super happy. Also, like, this is without the edging and this is with the edging, so I think it's going to be great, and I can't wait to get through all the cards. Also guys, I've had feedback that when I say tarot deck, people hear the word D-I-C-K instead of D-E-C-K. It's my accent, cannot be helped. I hope that now that I've drawn your attention to it, that it's not going to be a situation where you can't unhear it. I even had a marketing salesman person come and see me this morning. He asked what I sell and I said tarot decks, and he said, excuse me? He even typed it on his computer, D-I-C-K-S, and I had to correct him, so there we go. Okay, because I think it would just be super boring watching me edge a tarot deck, I did put a call out on my Instagram to ask you guys what your questions are for me, so that I could do a bit of a Q&A in this video while I'm doing my edging. By the way, edging sounds super suggestive. Am I the only one who noticed that? Comment below. The first question is from Mario, who asks, what is your favorite gemstone? Thank you for asking, Mario dear. My favorite gemstone is the emerald. I just love the deep, beautiful, amazing greens. My favorite crystal, although you didn't ask this, my favorite crystal is gotta be tourmaline or onyx. They're just beautiful. Obsidian. I love the dark, deadly, beautiful stones, and they're also very useful, and maybe I'll do a video on that one day. Next question is from Jess. Jess asks, do you have any tips for creating a magical morning routine? Absolutely. This is such a great topic. I used to be very good at doing my magical morning routine, and your question has just reminded me how I need to really get back into it. But I think the best way that you can fill your day, actually, not just your morning, with magic, is some time at the altar. And during this time, I recommend all kinds of things. Firstly, journaling your morning pages. I have actually been doing the morning pages now with my friend Britta. If you're watching this, hi. We're Working the Artist's Way. Fantastic book. Check it out if you're feeling any creative blocks that you want to get rid of. But anyway, the morning pages are basically 3 pages of whatever comes to mind. First thing in the morning, it's like a complete brain dump of information onto the page. For me, I feel like it helps to just clear up mind space for things that are more important to be on my brain. Sometimes I get some interesting kind of creative ideas that come up in my morning pages, and it's just super damn powerful. Give it a try if you haven't already. I also love scrying into a black obsidian mirror or a crystal ball like this one. This is so much fun and a fantastic way to start the day. It's very meditative, and you never know, maybe some messages will come through from spirit for you while you're scrying. Obviously, fantastic way to add some magic to your day is by pulling tarot cards first thing in the morning. Also oracle cards. You can also do a little bit of spellcraft and other witchy stuff in the morning. Something I love to do is emotional freedom technique tapping. It's a way that I do affirmations and raise my vibration for the day. Okay, I hope I gave you some ideas there for starting off your day with wonderful, witchy, magical goodness. Thank you for your question, Jess. M asks, how many tattoos do you have, and will you ever do a tattoo tour? I had never considered doing a tattoo tour. Maybe one day, I don't know. I can't say yes or no. As for how many tattoos I have, at the moment I've got about 7 large pieces. I don't have any small pieces really. I absolutely love tattoos. They're very transformative. Most of my tattoos are spells as well. Now there's a topic for a video. I guess you guys will have already seen a few of my tattoos organically in my videos. Maybe a few others will pop up, but I don't know if I'll ever do a tattoo tour. Thank you for asking, Em. Okay, next question. Michael asks, are you married? No, Michael, I'm not married. I'm very happily in a relationship. Thanks for asking. Okay, on to the next question. Let me just finish this edge in this little corner. Maria asks, what are your favorite tarot decks? That is a really difficult question to answer. I have different favorites at different times. Right now, I am just loving the Witchy Cat Tarot. It's a new one in my collection. Otherwise, my go-to decks that I use for client readings a lot are the Mystical Dream Tarot. Is it here? It should be here somewhere. Oh God, I'm old. is this so hard? Yeah, I love the Mystical Dream Tarot. It's just amazing for client readings. An old favorite is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot by Pamela Chen. And of course, oh my gosh, how could I forget? Anything and Everything by Barber Studios. I have a big Barber Studio collection up here. Maybe I'll show them to you in another video. I don't feel like reaching, I'm too old. The Mythical Creatures Tarot, the Fantastic Menagerie Tarot, the Victorian Romantic Tarot, and the amazing, dark and beautiful Bohemian Gothic Tarot. In fact, if I'm gonna have to choose a favorite, it's gonna be all of the above. Oh, and the Alice Tarot. I live in the hope that one day I will be able to own their Fairy Tale Tarot, which is out of print. A girl can dream, because if you're lucky enough to get a hold of a copy of this deck, you're looking at paying about $600 for it. Thank you so much for your question, Maria. Okay, next question is from Queenie, who asks, you've mentioned before that you have a PhD. What did you do your PhD in? Okay, PhD time. So what did you do your PhD in, and how does it relate to your magical practice? Wow, okay. That's a big question. Yes, I do have a PhD. I did it in medical microbiology. I focused on tuberculosis research, trying to understand mechanisms that cause drug resistance. So yeah, I have actually worked in a lab for over 10 years of my life. It is very closely related to my magical practice, because being a scientist and trying to understand the natural world is, in my view, a very pagan spiritual experience and quest. A good way to describe my spirituality would be like a Sagan pagan. The amazing author and science educator and astrophysicist Carl Sagan had this beautiful and profound ability to communicate science whilst also capturing a very deeply spiritual, awestruck power at the same time. And so I would describe myself as a Sagan pagan, as in someone who's a scientist, but also finds a spirituality in being a scientist as well. There's the placebo magic paradigm, which I guess forms one tenet of my magical practice, but isn't the whole thing. And I did do a whole video on that, so I will put that in the description below. Check it out. Let me know what you think of placebo magic. I don't know if I really answered your question properly. I think being in the lab, being a scientist and having a PhD is a big part of who I am, and it has deeply affected my magic. And one of the ways in which chaos magic can be so powerful, because chaos magic involves using belief as a tool. So that means I can choose to believe in something in order to achieve a magical outcome. And I can also suspend my disbelief at times, meaning that sometimes I can step in and out of a scientist role or a mystical role seamlessly. I used to keep those identities a little bit more separate than I do now. Nowadays, there are no boundaries. I am merged, fully merged, ascended and transcended into a mystical, weird scientist witch. Yeah, great question. Okay, on to the next one. Michael asks, how old are you? 2023. Let's see. I am 34 years old. And you know, when you have to think about it, that maybe you're getting on a little bit. I got no problems with aging though. I'm super excited to explore my hag archetypeness. So much power, so much wisdom. Crone the hag. I can't wait for those days. I feel like I already embody it a lot. And I'm quite enjoying my 30s. Thank you for asking, Michael. Next question. First, I need a sip of tea. Britt asks, how is Kronos doing? Kronos, for those of you who don't know, is my rescue dog, who turns out to be a Kangal / Anatolian Shepherd mix of who knows what else is in there. It was a bit of a surprise when I understood exactly what he is, but I feel very, very blessed to have him. And he's doing really well, actually. He turned 11 months. We're seeing him trust us a lot more. He's doing a lot better with his training, although anyone who has ever had a livestock guardian dog before knows that obedience really is very liberal use of the word when it comes to livestock guardians. Yeah, so he's doing really well. I think anyone who's adopted a rescue dog before really understands that it is about progress, not perfection with them, and that it's important to do it for the right reasons because it always brings challenges. I'm just really grateful to my support system. Helped me so much cope and adjust with having Kronos, and my amazing partner Maurizio, who does so much of the work as well. So yeah, thank you for asking. Kronos is doing great. Sophia asks, what tips do you have for beginner witches? First thing, Sophia, is that if you are a beginner witch, I would say have fun with witchcraft and with casting spells and doing fun things that inspire you. Don't get super weighed down or bogged down in the details. Go with your intuition. Go with what feels right to you. So if you find a book of spells or any witchy information online or anywhere, use that as a guide, use it to inspire you, but personalize it so that it works for you. And the other big tip that I have for witches who are just starting out is you don't have to spend money, guys. I think there's such a big kind of consumerist witchy culture out there. You can do magic with whatever you find outside, or you don't even need to use any items at all. I personally love to use items like crystal balls and things that I have for sale in my shop, by the way. You really don't have to. One of my favorite things to do is do a nature walk and collect little things along the way. Sometimes I'll find an eggshell on the floor, or a feather, or some leaves, or an interesting stick, river stones or hag stones, or whatever you find, and you can use those in your spells. And in actual fact, that is a great thing that I do before I cast a spell, is say I want to do a spell to manifest some money in my life. I will do a walk, and before the walk I'll ask Spirit to send to me whatever I need to cast the spell, and anything that catches my eye during the walk goes into the spell. So please don't feel like you need to spend a lot of money. Or any money at all, actually. And the other thing is you can do everything at the astral altar, and this is the altar in your mind. You do not even need to have a physical altar. If you can't afford one, or if you don't have the space, or if you're concerned that someone else might see it, maybe you have privacy issues and that kind of thing. Yeah, the other thing is just, as I said, have fun, read lots of books. You will find your witchy path as time goes. And the more you are authentically yourself, the more you will attract other witchy, wonderful people and your soul tribe into your life, and you will find that you will not have to witch alone if that's something that interests you. There are lots of solitary witches out there, and I used to be one, but there's something so amazing about finding your own witchy network, and that can also help to inspire you. Okay, so those are my tips. Again, thank you so much to everyone who sent me a question on Instagram. I couldn't get to them all, I just pulled a few out at random. So if you did send me a question, I will DM you on Instagram and you'll get your response. Where am I? I'm so everywhere. So I'm most of the way through edging this deck. I just have a few little cards left. So I'm just gonna carry on with these off camera, and then I'll come back to you and show you the final product. See you in a moment. And we're back. So I've finished edging the deck and I'm super excited about it. Look how amazing it looks. Look how beautiful the purple edges are on this deck. I am obsessed, guys. So happy with how it turned out. There are a couple of spots, you won't be able to see it on camera, but there are a couple of spots where I'm gonna have to just go over the edges again just a little bit, just to neaten them up and make sure that I have full coverage. But I thought I would have to do a second round, which I've definitely had to do in the past with the metallic Poscas. But this is perfect. I'm not going to do much more. The one thing that I did want to say is, I said earlier, like with the bleed through, that it's not much of a problem and that it's really up to personal preference. I did want to mention though that because this is a glossy finish deck, It's way easier to deal with the bleed through than say a rose petal finish or like a papery card. So if that is something that's important to you, then I would advise that you use the tissue and just like wipe away any extra paint off the card immediately as you're working. And then the other thing is after I was done, I just lay out all the cards all over the floor so that it could dry nicely, so that while I'm, you know, if it's not quite dry, then while you're shuffling, it can really spread the paint over the card. And you absolutely don't want that, I'm sure. So yeah, just make sure that they're perfectly dry. And then you can end up with these beautiful, amazing edges. I'm super excited. Thank you for joining me for this edging journey of the Witchy Cat Tarot. And thank you so much for sending me your questions on Instagram. That was a lot of fun. I also wanted to mention that I do actually sell the Witchy Cat Tarot. It is on my shop, along with some other indie decks. I'm obsessed with indie decks. You might be as well. If you like them, then please check out my shop and see if there's something there for you. As always, I'm here for your readings. If you would like a reading with me, you can purchase one on my website. You can also reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, or anywhere. If you have any questions, we can discuss and see what kind of reading suits you best. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video from me. As always, thank you so much for being here with me, and until next time, much love and blessed be. In today's video, blah, 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 blah. Besides, while we're edging the Witchy Cat Tarot, I'm going to redo that whole fucking question. I should check. Is the audio still audioing? Oh my god. Mamma mia. As for tattoos, how many I had? Can't speak. Need to go over that part again. And like a huge piece of spit flew over there. I hope you didn't see it on camera. Gross, man.